JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, man visiting Ireland shot dead in Linstead. A man visiting Jamaica has been shot dead at Victoria District in Linstead, St. Catherine. The deceased has been identified as 45-year-old Cleon Kelly, who is a Jamaican native. He, however, lived at New Brunswick in New Jersey, United States. The shooting happened about 8:20 p.m. on Friday, October 30. Kelly was shot twice in the upper body by a lone gunman, the police are reporting. Detectives are yet to ascertain a motive for the shooting. However, there are reports that the gunman made a demand and Kelly actively resisted. The Linstead police are investigating. Man killed while trying to douse fire at his house. The police are continuing their search for a gunman who shot and killed a man while he was extinguishing a fire at his house on Top Milford Road in Ochereas, St. Anne last week. The deceased has been identified as 33-year-old Damien Steer. Reports are that about 8 p.m., Steer was engaged in a card game with other individuals when he was alerted to a fire at his house. During his attempts to extinguish the blaze, an armed man reportedly pounced on him and shot him. The gunman then fled the scene. The police were alerted and Steer was assisted to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police sources indicated that the house was destroyed by the fire. 6 bar patrons robbed at gunpoint, suspect arrested. A St. Elizabeth man has been arrested and charged in relation to the robbery of 6 patrons at a bar in Barnaby Hall District, St. Elizabeth. Accused is 20-year-old Davian Francis of Spring Park District, Black River in the parish. Reports are that about 5 p.m. on Saturday, September 26, Francis and another man armed with guns entered the bar and proceeded to rob patrons of their cash, cellular phones and jewelry, together valued at over $900,000. The men then escaped on a motorcycle. The matter was reported to the police and an investigation launched. Francis was arrested on Thursday and charged the following day with 6 counts of robbery with aggravation and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. His court date is being finalized. The other man is still being sought by the police. COVID response team set up as reopening schools named. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has been charged with inspecting the 17 schools slated to reopen under a 2-week pilot this month and installing a rapid response team to cauterize spread if coronavirus cases break out among students, faculty, and other staff. The request was made by Acting Permanent Secretary Dr. Grace McLean last Friday. As the government pushes ahead with a limited resumption of face-to-face classes, as pushback from parents and teachers subsides amid COVID-19 fatigue, the 17 schools, with around 5,800 students, span 9 parishes. They are Tranquility Primary and Infant and Moortown Primary and Junior High in Portland, Yellows High in St. Thomas, Steertown Primary and Junior High in St. Anne, Troy High and Albert Town High in Trelawney, Somerton All Age and Infant and Chatsworth Primary and Infant in St. James, Chantilly Primary in Westmoreland, Malgully Primary in Manchester, Bethlehem All Age and Infant and Ballards Valley Primary in St. Elizabeth, and Morgan's Forest Primary and Infant, Garlogie Primary and Junior High, Alston High and Kempsey High School in Clarendon. Geoinformatics and demographic data, including a range of indices such as water supply, transportation distance, and enrollment density, informed the selection of schools. Education Minister Favour Williams revealed last week that 73 schools with an aggregate population of 58,000 students met the threshold for reopening, but the Conservative resumption indicates the tight rope the Holness administration is treading as concerns linger about infection control among children. Struggling father, overjoyed with gift of house, Franklyn Bodden could hardly express his feelings when he spoke. 2 weeks ago, he was gifted a 2-bedroom house in Runaway Bay, St. Anne, thanks to the effort of the Runaway Bay Community Development Council, CDC. Now he and his 2 daughters who are 5 and 4 have somewhere decent to live. The way I feel, I can hardly express it. I feel so great, Bodden said. I'm glad for the effort that all of the team put in. All of them. I look like a man right now, you know. I was a man, but you know, certain things like that I didn't need. And through me did have two little children, it was a struggle for me. But right now it's a great and big help for me and the children them. I have somewhere now that is decent. So I could even invite somebody so we can sit and reason. The team that Bodden refers to includes the CDC, whose president, Camille Adejon, gave a synopsis of what led to the wonderful moment for Bodden. Someone contacted Mrs. Antoinette Legister Hall, who is the Social Development Commission's officer, and she came to me as the president, and we arranged, both of us, to visit him. When we visited him, nothing could have prepared us for what we saw. It wasn't a house. It was a little shack made up of pieces of wood leaning against a tree, literally one dark room, and in there were two little girls. Upon seeing the condition the family was living in, she couldn't hold back the tears, she said, and decided there and then that the CDC, which focuses on welfare and education, would make every effort to help Bodden. That was in 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic slowed down the process, but the effort was maintained. Calling on friends and relatives for their support finally paid dividends. MS Tech Solutions, an information technology company whose CEO is Mario Sparks, came on board and sponsored the house and brought in Lotus Project to construct the building. Within a short space of time, the construction people were down. It was just fantastic. That house was delivered in 5 weeks. He's been in it 2 weeks now. Originally intended to be a one-bedroom unit, costing about $1.5 million, the final product was a 2-bedroom flat with kitchen, bathroom, and veranda, costing a bit more. The house is made of board with a concrete base. We have just been so overwhelmed with the support. It gave me hope for Jamaica, Adejon pointed out. Describing Bodden as a very nice, humble man, Adejon said the experience has impacted him significantly. He's a changed man. You just see the difference in him. And the children, they now have their own room. The Sparks, Mario and his wife, donated new beds with linen, a fridge and a stove. It's just been wonderful. Adejon also mentioned a couple of other projects that the CDC has been involved with. This included a young man that the CDC sent to school for 10 months, paying for uniform, lunch, and all travel expenses. There's also a house in Runaway Bay that needs urgent repairs to the roof, which is their next project. A big thank you has to go to friends and relatives of mine in the United Kingdom because they have been fantastic. During this corona time, we were able to put zinc on another house because of the funds that they have sent. And we all know that it's tough for everybody around the world, Adejon acknowledged. COVID cases increased by 126. One more death reported. Jamaica has recorded 126 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of cases to 9,257. The country also recorded an additional virus-related death, a 70-year-old woman from St. Anne. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 210. The Ministry of Health and Wellness noted that of the 126 new cases of the virus were 89 males and 37 females, with ages ranging from 9 to 92 years. The new cases bring to 4,289 the number of active cases currently in the island, while recoveries now stand at 4,637 following 20 additional cases. Sexual harassment bill inching along. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Babsy-Grange, has informed the newly reassigned members of a joint select committee tasked with piloting the long-awaited sexual harassment bill through the House of Representatives that she is looking forward to robust discussions during meetings. The committee, which includes several newly elected members of Parliament, resumed sitting on Thursday at Gordon House. Their goal is to have a report tabled in Parliament and approved before the end of the parliamentary year next March. On Thursday, Grange noted that the legislation is necessary to address concerns about sexual harassment that is employment related, occurring in institutions or arising in landlord-tenant relationships. The bill, which addresses sexual harassment of both males and females, speaks to basically two categories: making unwelcome sexual advances, which are reasonably offensive or humiliating, and interfering unreasonably with work performance or creating an intimidating, offensive, or hostile work environment. It speaks to physical contact of a sexual nature, demand or request for sex or favors of a particular nature, making sexual suggestions, remarks, or innuendos, showing of porn and other physical gestures, as well as verbal, nonverbal, or physical conduct of a particular nature. Grange explained that it was necessary to make those conditions clear in order to counter misunderstandings that still exist within the society about what constitutes sexual harassment and what the bill intends to achieve. For too long, many victims have been left without recourse, having to first cower in shame and then retreat to the halls of silence, she told the meeting, based on a proposal from the Minister of Justice, Delroy Truck. The committee agreed to a 3-week suspension of meetings to allow new members to acquaint themselves with the 11 presentations of submissions which took place in 6 months of meetings between November 2019 and July 2020, as well as another 17 submissions which have not yet been heard in meetings. They agreed to resume on November 12 and meet each Thursday until December 10. No meeting has been scheduled for next week so as to accommodate the People's National Party presidential election scheduled for November 7. President of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, Senator Cavan Gale, urged the committee to ensure that the Jamaica Employers Federation responds to its request to make an appearance before the meeting's end. It is important to hear the views and expressions of the employers. We cannot afford to have them fail to make a presentation before we close, Senator Gale said. Grange responded that they would be invited to the next meeting. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.